In the heart of an ancient city, bustling with life, a story of profound love and sacrifice was about to unfold. A man, known for his teachings of peace and love, found himself at the center of a storm. His name was Jesus, and his message had stirred the powerful, who now saw him as a threat. The air grew heavy with tension, as whispers of betrayal filled the streets. One of his own, a close friend, would lead the soldiers to him under the cloak of night. In a quiet garden, under the silver glow of the moon, Jesus prayed. He knew what was coming, the immense weight of the world on his shoulders. Soon, the sound of marching feet broke the silence. Torches flickered, casting long, dancing shadows as soldiers, led by the betrayer, surrounded him. A kiss, once a sign of affection, now became a signal for rest. He was taken away, not with a fight, but with a quiet dignity that stunned even his captors. He was brought before the high priests and elders, a trial held in the dead of night. False witnesses came forward, their stories crumbling under the weight of their own lies. Yet the verdict was already decided. They accused him of blasphemy, a crime punishable by death. They mocked him, spat on him, and struck him, but he remained silent, enduring their scorn with a strength that seemed otherworldly. As dawn broke, he was taken to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate questioned him, searching for a reason to condemn him, but found none. "I find no fault in this man," he declared to the crowd. He offered them a choice: release Jesus, or release a notorious criminal named Barabbas. The crowd, swayed by the chief priests, roared back, "Give us Barabbas!" Pilate, washing his hands before them, symbolically cleansed himself of the decision. But the crowd's cry for crucifixion sealed Jesus' fate. The soldiers took him, stripped him of his clothes, and placed a scarlet robe on his shoulders. They twisted thorns into a crown and pressed it onto his head. They put a reed in his right hand as a scepter and knelt before him in mockery, chanting, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They spat on him and struck him on the head again and again. Their cruelty knew no bounds, yet his spirit remained unbroken. Then came the agonizing journey to a place called Golgotha, the place of the skull. He was forced to carry the heavy wooden cross upon his bruised and beaten back. The streets were lined with onlookers, some wept, some jeered, and some watched in stunned silence. He stumbled and fell, the weight of the cross crushing him, but he rose again, determined to see this through to the end. A man from the crowd, Simon of Cyrene, was pulled from the onlookers and forced to help carry the cross. They reached the hill, a desolate place overlooking the city. The sky seemed to grow darker, as if nature itself was mourning. There, they laid him down upon the cross and drove nails through his hands and feet. The sound echoed through the hills, a sound of unimaginable pain. But as they lifted the cross, planting it into the ground between two thieves, he spoke not words of anger or revenge, but of forgiveness. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Soldiers gambled for his clothes at the foot of the cross. Religious leaders scoffed. He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Christ of God. One of the criminals crucified with him hurled insults, but the other rebuked him, recognizing Jesus' innocence. He turned to Jesus and said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus, in his agony, promised him, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." He saw his mother, Mary, standing near the cross, her heart breaking. Beside her stood the disciple whom he loved. He looked at them and ensured she would be cared for, a final act of love and responsibility even in his final moments. Hours passed. The sun was obscured, and darkness covered the land. A profound silence fell over the world. Then, from the cross, a loud cry pierced the darkness. My God, why have you forsaken me?" It was a cry of immense human suffering, a moment where he felt the full weight of separation and despair. Shortly after, Knowing that all was now finished, he said, "I am thirsty." A sponge soaked in sour wine was lifted to his lips. After he had received the drink, Jesus said, "It is finished." With these words he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. It was not a life taken, but a life given. At that very moment, the earth shook, rocks split, and the massive curtain in the temple was torn into from top to bottom. The Roman centurion in charge, witnessing all that had happened, was filled with awe and declared, "Truly, this was the Son of God." The sacrifice was complete. A story not of an end, but a beginning, a demonstration of love so powerful it would echo through eternity, changing the course of history and offering hope to all of humanity. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of moments, there is a love that conquers all, a sacrifice that redeems all, and a light that can never be extinguished. This was the greatest sacrifice, an act of ultimate love for every single one of us. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more.